So that doesn't sound too good. Yeah. Doesn't sound good at all. Temperatures were getting a little high, so I don't know. Okay, so this is 6-cylinder. Alright, so I see the gap.
See the gap?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah. I don't think it's supposed to do that. None of the other ones do that.
Do that a couple times.
Could happen.
Alright, now begins the exciting part of taking the head off a second time. Alright, fun begins. Coolant drained again, alternator taken out again. We're gonna have to take all the fucking rocker bullshit off, take all the fucking head bolts out, disconnect the exhaust. I'm probably gonna take the whole system out again because I feel like it was easier. Disconnect all the wiring. Ugh. Man, this sucks. Wish I would have caught this the first time around. Okay, rocker assembly's off, all the head bolts have been loosened and taken out, all that crap. Fuel lines, electrical lines, vacuum lines, all kinds of shit. So I just gotta remove the exhaust manifold and then we should be good to yank the head off. Oh boy. Alright, we're all chained up, ready to lift. Up she go. Two-handed work. Alright, we got the head off. Now we can look inside and see all the lovely pistons and lifters and other bullshit. Not super pretty. Alright, let's unbolt the piston. Okay, bearing cap is off. Come under here. Take the 1/2-inch nuts off. You can see the shiny crank. Doesn't look like there's any scoring or anything, so that's good. Now we just gotta beat the piston out. I took the bearing off. Doesn't look god awful. Alright, let's beat that fucker up. Alright, when you're underneath, you want to make sure to put some tape or something around those rod studs, because you don't want them scratching against the crankshaft journal as you're pushing it out. I just took a piece of wood and put it on the actual rod stud and just pushed it, and you could kind of get it to move by hand in little increments until it just kind of popped out the top. So now she's free and we can take a gander. Alright. The one piece of tape fell off, but you can see what I mean. You just want to make sure that you're not scoring up the surfaces or anything. That's a piston. You notice there's an arrow on it that tells you that which direction it should sit. The arrow points to the front of the truck. So you want to make sure that that's indexed properly, because it's not perfectly centered on this rod. You can't tell, but it's off by, you know, a couple thou in one direction. So you just want to make sure it goes in there, otherwise you get crazy piston slap. So, yep. Okay, that's a piston. Pretty worn, huh? It's hard to get you in there good. just a wee bit of scoring. So you can see right here that the top ring actually got worn all the way down so that it fit inside, and then that's when it started rubbing against the skirt. So that's why we got so much damage. Talked to my engine guy, and he thinks it might have something to do with oil control, that maybe it wasn't getting any oil, so the ring just started wearing and wearing and wearing until there was nothing left, and then it started, you know, beating up on the cylinder, because that's what happened. At first it was fine, you know, I didn't hear any noise, and then after like 5 to 10 minutes or so, then it started making noise and it wouldn't stop. So I guess that's what happened, is the ring just kept getting worn down until nothing was left, because you can tell where the wearing starts and stops. Right there. So you can see how it just kind of got worse and worse. So that blows chunks. Oh well. Another day in paradise. Engine guy's gonna come in with a boring hone, see if he can't clean the cylinder up, and we'll drop a new piston in if that's the case. Cool.
Okay.
We just got to go underneath and connect it up. So now if you come down here, you notice our piston is starting to line up. And the wrist pin moves really freely. There's no binding or anything like that. It's real smooth. It almost goes back and forth on its own, almost. So I guess I'm going to see if I can put the bearing into the top part up here, and then once that's in, we'll go to the top and we'll slowly hammer it down. The bearing can only go in one way because it's got a key, so it's offset, so that should be easy enough. Okay, I went underneath, made sure that the bearing was aligned properly in that key and that it was centered, and I just used like a flathead to tap on it to make sure that it was straight. So now that we know that the piston is lining up with the crankshaft properly, we're just going to take the soft end of the hammer and just there you go. So now she's down there. If you come down here, piston lined up with it perfectly. It helps that the crankshaft was straight. So the duct tape helps keep you from scratching the crankshaft in case the bolt starts rubbing against it for some reason. So now that that's good, we can take that off. And you notice if you look over here, the bearing is flush, which is what we want. It's hard to tell, but she's in there. Same over here, no gaps or anything. I tried to pre-oil the crankshaft as much as I could to get some oil on there. So we'll take this off and then we'll set the bottom up. To give you a better idea, this is what the bottom cap looks like. And you just want to make sure that it's sitting as flush as you can get it. It'll center itself once you tighten it down, but you just want to get it close. So we're going to make sure that there's plenty of oil on this bearing surface. And before we put it on, you want to look for a mark. If your machinist or yourself knows what you're doing, you know that the bearing caps should only go on one way because they're usually cracked to fit better. So they should only go on one way or they won't fit tight or straight or square, all that shit. So if you notice there's a 6 marked on this side and there's nothing on this side. So that 6 has to match with the 6 over here. So just make sure that it goes on that direction. We're going to slide it up there and put the bolts on. So now we just got to tighten it down. You can see all the numbers line up. They're looking good. Okay, these connecting rod cap nuts are going to get torqued to 33 foot-pounds. So after they're torqued down, they're all oiled, everything looks good. We can clean up the connecting, the mating surfaces, and put the oil gasket, the oil pan gasket on. Okay, so oil pan's all cleaned up. We got the gasket cleaned up and put on there, so we're gonna put it underneath and, you know, bolt this stuff up. Okay, so now we can take our head and lower it back down where we need to. Make sure that both surfaces are clean. You don't want any oil or any crap or, you know, rust or whatever on there, so make sure you clean it up with brake clean real nice. And once you're sure that the surfaces are to your liking and there's no coolant in the threads or anything, or in the pistons, and the pistons are clean and you're happy with all that, we can put our head gasket on. So I just got a regular old Felpro head gasket. Now you'll notice it says top. You want to make sure that faces the top. Besides that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Put it on, make sure you line it up. You're not cutting it when you slide it in. So we're going to put this in here and lower the head onto it. Once it's all good from the front and the back and all of that, everything lines up and you're happy with it, as long as it doesn't go nowhere, we will slowly lower the head onto it. Don't forget to put that bolt back in back there. Otherwise, you're going to have to take the whole head off again when you realize it won't fit. So make sure that back one's in there. Now we can lower it down. This is a lot easier with two people, but you're just going to lower the head on and make sure that everything lines up properly. If it helps, try and have a bolt set up so that you know the head gasket is definitely set up and connected to the bolt. And just check the front and the back, so we're looking good. And that bolt's in there, so we don't have to worry about that. So now we can take the chains off, we can put the engine lift away, and put all the bolts in and tighten them up. I'm just going to go through this really quickly, but you put all the head bolts on, all the studs go on the driver's side, and all the non-studs go on the passenger side, and they all get tightened down. So, a couple special things. This one in the front. This one gets thread sealant because it goes into the water jacket down there. So you need to make sure to apply some to the threads before you put that one in. So we're going to tighten them all down. There's a torquing sequence. You start in the center and you kind of work your way out in a circle. They do a 3-step process. You start at 22, then 44, and then finally 110 foot-pounds, with the exception of that one, which only gets 100. So we'll torque them all down, and then we can put the rocker assembly on. Okay. Whew, talk about a nice workout. Alright, so everything's torqued up. Now, a trick for this back thing. If you like cutting, you could notch this lip here so that you might be able to get a full-size socket in there and actually do the work easily. But if you don't feel like breaking anything and you're a little clever, you can use a regular size socket, but this is a very dangerous method if you're not careful what you're doing. Because you have to put the socket, I'll put it over here so you can see it better, but you put the socket on just enough that it's on there and that you still have a gap up top here. Because if you push it all the way down, you can't put your wrench on. So what you do is you lift it up a little bit so that both things can contact, and then you can do it. But it's very dangerous, because if this slips or something, you're going to go flying. So just make sure that it's in there, but that is a way to accomplish this. So now that that's done, clean up all the dirt, start putting the rocker arms and shit in. Alright, quick tidbit. So rocker assembly's on. Now if you're putting on the old rockers, there's a very good chance that the rocker bridges are going to be bent, because they're just so flimsy. When you go to untorque them, they just kind of contort everywhere. So the best way I've found to straighten them back out is with a setup like this. You have a mirror, lean back there so you can see where they are, where the rockers are compared to the valve stems. And then you take some vice grips and clamp it onto here. And then you take channel locks or like a crescent wrench or something, and you put it on here. And then you can twist it back and forth, and you look over there to see when it's lined up. So you're going to have to overturn it a little bit so that when it springs back, it lands where it should. That's the best method that I've found to straighten out these rocker bridges. So once they're straight, you can tighten them down and move on to the next set and just make sure that they're all pretty centered. They get torqued down to 20 foot-pounds. As a bonus, I decided I'm going to clean up the valve cover and give it a proper fresh coat of paint. So I cleaned it all up, and it's very reflective and shiny. So if you're trying to go for like a really chromy or shiny look or something, just cleaning it up to bare aluminum does look rather nice. I'm going to paint it with some VHT Engine Metallic. And this is burnt copper, I believe. I think it looks pretty good, so we'll see if it looks good or not. You got to bake this at 200 degrees for an hour once it's fully dry so that it properly does its stuff. Well, let's see what this looks like. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Nice and coppery and orange and pretty. I dig it. But it needs something. Just a little something. You figure it out yet? It's okay, I'll give you a second. Aha, there we go. Ain't that snazzy? So sand down just the tops. So they're nice and silver. I feel like that should give it a pretty nice look. Ooh, look at that. Valve cover's on, all the bolts are tight, all the hoses and shit are hooked up and all that good stuff. I got the coolant lines hooked up, and I also I flushed the heater core, and there was a decent amount of crap in there, brown stuff. So you just go in one way, and then you switch, go in the other way, and then keep switching back and forth. I noticed I wouldn't get much out of one side, and then when I flipped it, there'd be a nice little chunk of brown coming out, and then I'd go one way, nothing, and flip, and then some more would come out. So I just kept going until it was all clean. So now we should get some nice heat for the winter. Ooh. Alright, so everything's hooked up, and I think we're ready to start. So, are you ready for this? Because I'm pretty fucking ready for this. I'm excited. Don't let me down. Nice. No more noise, baby. No more noise! Ah! Yes! Oh, thank God. Thank God. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Well, there you have it. That's how you replace a piston when you're getting piston slap in your engine. Now for mine, since this is basically brand new, I only had to replace the one piston and got away with it, so I broke the ring in, and she runs great now. No problems at all, no sounds, no noises, no nothing. Now, if you're working on an older engine with stock pistons and everything, I don't know if you have to replace all of them or not, or if you can just get away with the one, but yeah, that's what piston slap is, how to find it, and how to fix it. So, I hope you learned a lot on this adventure. I learned quite a lot. I learned way much more than I ever thought I was going to with this engine, and although it's been fun and enjoyable, not. I wish I don't ever have to do that again. So, yeah, there you go. That's how to replace a piston in a 4.0 liter. Well, in my case it's a 4.6, but you get the idea. Alright, good luck to you.